Hello Chelsea fans, welcome to yet another video right here. My name is Desire Derek Ford Mugumisa, and yes, this is Mugumisa Talks Chelsea. Now first off, happy birthday to our captain Reece James, as well as of course to Raheem Sterling, one of our most senior players at the club currently. I do hope that you guys do enjoy your day and that the celebrations are not too heavy, such that you are in the best shape possible to beat Everton on Sunday. Of course, we heard that Everton have been given out 2 days off ahead of that particular game. Is it better? Does it work for them? Does it make them better? I'm not so sure. What I know for sure is that we are happy that Reece James and Raheem Sterling are celebrating great days, and we hope that it all goes well. Today's video is going to be one that is really about that press conference that Mauricio Pochettino held earlier, and we're going to be talking about a couple of things. He spoke on the possibility of Nkunku playing on Everton or not. I'll be giving you details on that. He spoke on the atmosphere that we can expect at Goodison Park. He spoke on the fans booing the Chelsea players and technical team after that game versus Manchester United, among so many others. I'm going to be sharing with you some of the highlights of that press conference, and that is when we officially get started this way. All right, welcome to the video once again, and yeah, please subscribe to the channel. 399 subscribers is what I had before I came in to record this particular video. I would love to take that past 400. Matter of fact, I need your support to get it to 1,000 subscribers soon. So will you subscribe? Will you turn on those notification buttons? And hey, will you also follow me on my social media platforms at DMugumisa on X, at DMugumisa on Instagram, at DMugumisa on TikTok. Now, before we get into all the press conference details from Mauricio Pochettino, let's talk about a couple of stories that are going around us about Chelsea today. The first one that caught my eye was this right here. A poll asking fans on if they would be excited about a Jose Mourinho return. Now, I love Jose Mourinho. For me, he's the best ever manager in the world. Even with what Pep Guardiola has done recently and all of that, I've always been Team Mourinho. And I felt that he is a guy who didn't get the budgets that Pep Guardiola got, who just somehow managed to figure out a career for himself because he was not a former player. And all of those kinds of things. He just figured a way to get things done. And oh my goodness, what a man with the press conferences Jose Mourinho is. I love him. But let's make no mistake, he is not what this Chelsea squad needs. And I know I've seen some of the comments of the people saying, oh no, these boys, they're so soft and all of this, we needed Mourinho. When Todd Boehly and company bought this club, they showed you that they had a project that they were going to be embarking on. That project has been adjusted here and there, and I have to credit them for being able to adjust where need be. However, it was no project to go the direction that Jose Mourinho took us. And I don't mean to win. I would love us to win, and I'm sure they want us to win. But Jose Mourinho bought the best players when they were available. Jose Mourinho didn't care about what beautiful football you had to play for as long as you won games. Jose Mourinho was a man who preferred to be a manager and not a head coach. Jose Mourinho would not survive in an environment that the Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital have built around Chelsea today, where the head coach is the head coach. And if when we get into the press conference details, we're going to be talking about that. But even when you've watched Mauricio Pochettino speak to the press, he's very careful to remind you all that there's the owners, there's the sporting directors, and yeah, now he has an opinion in signing those players. Jose Mourinho would not appreciate just an opinion in signing those players. Jose Mourinho is a great manager, but he's not what Chelsea need at the moment. That is my opinion. Chelsea are looking to play good football. Chelsea are looking to develop young players and all of those things. Jose Mourinho is also very much about how we lost Kevin De Bruyne. Jose Mourinho is also very much about, and you will have seen the Obi-Wan podcast where they were speaking about how Mo Salah just got disconnected from the club pretty much by Jose Mourinho and how he handled his things. I am not so sure he has changed much, because when you see the press conferences, there are adjustments here and that. I don't think he is the man that you want to bring in, having spent £1 billion on young players and potential for him to be the head coach. So I think the earlier we forget this, the better. But that's really just my thoughts. You can let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would be willing and waiting to hear from you. We'll interact there, but I'll also be sampling some of those comments in our next video. There is also, of course, the news coming in about Santiago Jimenez. He's a striker at Feyenoord. He's a guy who is I think his goal scoring is by instinct and all of that. He's something that we probably need. But this interesting tweet I read today is something that was both baffling and not exactly something that I was a huge fan of, but it is the reality, and I see where Ruud Gullit, was coming from. He's quoted to have stated, Chelsea are searching for identity at the moment, and Santiago Jimenez would be arriving into a struggling team. I'd rather go to a team that knows exactly what they have to do. Of course, I hope he's the guy to give Chelsea what they need. I don't know what Chelsea are at the moment. And I totally hear you, but I have also had this narrative creep up and up over the last couple of weeks and all of that. But it's quite absurd that we find ourselves in this position, and that a narrative like that could actually stop us from getting some of the people that we need. However, I am also not so sure that this is a guy that we want to be getting. Like I stated earlier, we need some guys that are a bit older, a few people that have a character, some people that are leaders that can bring experience to this particular team. This is not even about what Santiago Jimenez can do or cannot do, because I'm telling you that if Jackson is still at Villarreal with the highlight reel that he had, and Jimenez is at Feyenoord with the highlight reel that he currently has, I'll be choosing Jimenez over Jackson. I remember a WhatsApp group I am on when the first time they shared that there is a guy called Nicholas Jackson that we shall be signing. First thing I looked at his highlights, I thought, well, we need goals. I don't see goals in this guy. His Villarreal highlights were really all about going deep, getting the ball, driving it to the fore, and all of that kind of stuff. It meant that he would be a good fit if at all we were going to go out for a Neymar or for those goal-scoring wingers and all of those kinds of things, because then you know that, yeah, you're bringing in a half nine, maybe a nine that drops deep, and the wingers are coming forward and they're getting to convert those goals. We didn't exactly do that, so I was a bit confused with that kind of business, especially when we decided that he was the man we were going to be bringing in exactly for the goals, because the goals is what we were looking for, and it's Nicholas Jackson that we brought on. Speaking of which, is it about time we start Armando Broja? I'm thinking so. I'm thinking so, really. But we'll see how that one gets to go. But again, where this story started at is we are now in a situation where many agents, and they read all these tweets, they read all these narratives, they are watching these TV shows and all of that, will be reading and thinking, I don't think I want my player there, and all of that, which would also get us back to a position whereby to win those transfers, then we need to overpay, which is already a problem that we are struggling with. But yeah, it's absurd that we have to suffer with that. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, and we have quite a number of games this December, we get to put together a string of games that can chase this kind of narrative away, and it looks like, oh, it's a club on the up and up, we know what they're playing like and all of that, and maybe those 2 or 3 pieces that we need in January can find it easier to get to join us when the time gets to come, right? All right, that is just about that with the news. Let's get into what we want to focus on today, which is Mauricio Pochettino in the press conference. All right, Mauricio Pochettino addressed the media today ahead of our game against Everton, and yes, I am excited about this one. I really think we shall win it. It won't be comfortable. It probably will be a 1-0 victory. I am that confident. However, let's get a look at the realities on the ground heading into this one. Prior to his press conference this morning, we did have the Chelsea website bring out, which I wasn't a fan of this particular update, but hey, I've gotten onto it. I now look forward to it, and yeah, that is the injury update. It was shared, and the first name on it was Romeo Lavia, him progressing with reconditioning phase of his rehabilitation. Now, when you get to read this list over the weeks, you've realized that they start with the closest to return to the farthest from return. Did Romeo Lavia overtake Christopher Nkunku if at all we're going to go by the list right here, it is something that we might want to be looking into. However, it's a bit confusing because when Mauricio Pochettino was speaking, he spoke to Nkunku and Malo Gusto, who both appear to be a little further from a return than Romeo Lavia, if you're going to go by this list. And yet, where Nkunku is progressing with the reconditioning phase of his rehabilitation, as you can see right there, Malo Gusto is just starting the reconditioning phase. And yet, as you will see in a couple of quotes shortly, Malo Gusto could be monitored for the game versus Everton. Maybe it could be because, well, we have a right-back situation in there, but Rhys James is back, so why would that be? Could Lavia and Nkunku be closer than we think? Is Mauricio Pochettino playing some mind games? Let's look at what he had to say. Well, before we get to look at that, continuing with this, Trevor Chalobah continuing, Ben Chilwell still not back, Kani Chukwuemeka, Wesley Fofana, Leslie Ugochukwu also in their 8 players on our injury list, and this has been a consistent figure. It looks like it's 7 and above at any point. It is quite upset. And these are all players that contribute to the first team, isn't it? Anyways, let's get to move on to the quotes. A couple of those that caught my eye today. We'll start off with this one. Isaac and Saya getting to quote Pochettino on Nkunku. He stated, Christopher, we are still assessing day by day. We will see tomorrow, but I don't believe he will be involved. We will see if Malo Gusto can be available. But apart from that, no other news. So Malo Gusto and Nkunku seem to be ahead of Lavia. Whatever this thing Lavia suffered with, it is quite something. But I really hope that when these players finally return, they will actually stay for a long time, because again, I don't think with everything going on, you want to see them also going back, for an injury break for so long. I'm also starting to worry for Nkunku. Mauricio Pochettino about a month or so ago was already speaking about him returning and how he will change. Well, he wasn't saying he will change it, but he was pointing him out as a key piece that is still out injured and all of that. What kind of Nkunku are we going to be getting into the squad? Remember, he has not made a competitive debut for the club, even when we bought him pretty much a year ago now. What kind of mindset is he in? What is his mind frame and all of that? But we'll wait and see how that one all gets to go. Pochettino also spoke on Everton. He came out to state, we are going to find a really tough atmosphere, and if you want to perform in the Premier League, we need to deal with this. In adversity, you can build something special. He was also speaking to Everton getting to be deducted 10 points in a way that he felt Everton people, the players and all of that must be feeling like it was unfair, and he feels that that is the adversity for Everton. They will feel like they need to react, and that will, for him, explain the 2 wins in 3 games that they have gotten since those 10 points were taken away. And he's stating that, we are also in adversity now as Manchester United. After that game versus Manchester United, we want to go back out there and we should be able to make something of this, and that is really the positivity that he will be taking into that particular game. All right, moving on from that quote, Mauricio Pochettino also stated, we cannot say nothing to the fans, and that was after the boos post-Man United defeat. They react how they feel. We cannot blame them. We need to accept if we are not playing well, we are criticized by them. We need to accept that. I've got to say, Mauricio Pochettino, what a man. He manages the media so well. He manages the fans so well. He just seems to know what to say at all times. Well, until he's playing against Spurs and he's saying how he wants to go back someday and all of that. That was a law. I think that was a law for Mauricio Pochettino. And for me, again, it is something to go to say they're only human. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they struggle, and those kinds of things. So maybe we need to be a little bit more patient with them and understand that, hey, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's how better you get, how more you play together, that the good gets consistent. Let's quickly move on to another quote coming in from Pochettino. We know what we want, and after that, you need some luck to keep the players fit, to increase the competition between them. Until we find this momentum, we need to stay calm, keep pushing, because we are so close. I think this next quote is very much related to that. I think we deserve much more from the beginning of the season, much more form from the beginning of the season, but now we have dropped our performances in the last few weeks. I am fair in my assessment. We need to improve. We felt good after Brighton and bad after United. We cannot move from 0 to 100 on strings. And yes, Mauricio, I'm glad that we are reading that from you and we're hearing that from you right there. The ups and downs, the start stops or stop starts, whatever we want to call them, they're a bit too much. It must be frustrating, I've got to say. Again, I know it is frustrating for the fans. It must be frustrating for the manager because, hey, over and above, it is your reputation on the ground and all of those kinds of things. But Mauricio Pochettino also coming out to speak on the realities of this project, signing young players and expecting them to do well, the time that they need. And I think in there, one of the things that stood out for me was him stating that sometimes it's going to be 4 months, sometimes it's going to be 6 months, sometimes it's going to be a whole year. You have to wait it out. One thing is for sure, they have potential, they are good, talented players. We have to wait it out. So I know I called for this project thing, but it is tough. It is tough, but hopefully it is something that gets us to perform very well when all is said and done. Let's get to talk more about what Pochettino stated. Now, on this project, he came out to state, we knew when we accepted it would be tough. We're going to challenge for the Champions League. Maybe not now, but in the future. Who knows when? Hopefully as soon as possible. It's a matter of time, maybe a year or 6 months. I think we are building something that will pay off. That is Ben Jacobs combining a couple of quotes and pretty much well paraphrasing Pochettino right there. As we close this one out, Pochettino was asked about, I think, and the question was a very interesting one. You're building all these pieces. There are a couple of players that have come in. I'm sure there's some you're looking at and thinking, maybe that's not a good piece and all of that. How are you dealing with them, especially since there are players that are on long contracts? And I thought that was one of the best questions he handled today. He came out to say, we need to give it time. There are a lot of players that arrive with contracts longer than us. And that is interesting, isn't it? Now is not only to bring in the players, it is to work with them and to put all in context to create a dynamic and to create a team. That is the most difficult challenge we have. We have talented players, but we need to create this platform where they find their players and start to feel they belong to this group and the team and the club. Well done, Mauricio. Well done. It's very admirable media management right there. And of course, also somewhere in this press conference coming out to state, hey, this press conference might be easier for you, the journalist, but it's very hard for me as a manager. And I think it was actually before he answered that question. So very present, very present. There are still huge signs to show why the club chose to go with him and his team for this particular project. I just really hope that we are progressing. It's just that in the last couple of weeks, it hasn't felt like we are progressing. I've always been for this project and all of that, but that was when it felt like, okay, cool, we are not scoring goals, but you see we are performing. Oh, now we are finding passes, we are not scoring yet. Now we are scoring the goals, there's progress. But when you see the performances that we put on versus Newcastle, the performances that we put on, even against Brighton to put them back in, when you see the performance versus Manchester United, you worry a bit, and I hope we can get back on track and go upwards. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we can't go any further than that. Thank you so much for being with us until up to about now. I'm still encouraging you to please share your views on some of the content that we are creating, especially within this video, in the comment section below. I will be looking to interact with you over there and also to sample those comments in our next video, right? Now, ask those questions as well. We will be having special sessions where we can get to, research and get to answer those questions and put them in video right here. And yes, we are on the journey to 1,000 subscribers. We are on 399 until, of course, before I came on to record this video, I hope by the time we record the next one, we are way higher. So please share these videos with as many people as possible. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification button, because it's because of you that we shall be able to keep that blue flag flying high.